The Terror Within, 1989. We start our list at the very tail end of the decade with 1989's The Terror Within. Now, by this point, the alien formula was well established, but producer Roger Corman, the king of the B-movies, decided to give it a post-apocalyptic twist. The setup is classic 80s grit. The world has ended, and the survivors are huddled in an underground bunker called Mojave Lab. They think they're safe from the wasteland outside until they bring in a woman who has been, well, impregnated by a mutant. You can probably guess what happens next, but that doesn't make it any less fun to watch. What makes The Terror Within stand out isn't the plot, it's the atmosphere. It feels incredibly cramped. You can almost smell the stale air and the rust in this bunker. When the creature finally arrives, a snarling, gargoyle-looking beast with a bad attitude, it doesn't just hide in the shadows. It goes on a calculated rampage. The practical effects here are surprisingly mean-spirited. There's a particular birth scene that rivals the original Alien for sheer gross-out factor. For a late 80s direct-to-video release, the production value is punchy. It's a lean, 88-minute reminder that even when you're out of money, you can still deliver a creature feature that leaves a mark. It's the cinematic equivalent of a cheap steak. It's not gourmet, but it's exactly what you wanted on a Saturday night. Alien 2, On Earth, 1980. Now, let's talk about pure, unadulterated Italian audacity. In 1980, a director named Ciro Ippolito looked at the success of Ridley Scott's film and thought, why wait for Fox to make a sequel? I'll just make it myself. Enter Alien 2, On Earth. Now, let's be clear. This has absolutely zero connection to the official franchise. But in the lawless world of 80s international cinema, you could get away with a lot. Instead of a spaceship, this movie takes place mostly in deep, dark caves. A group of spelunkers discovers some strange rocks brought back by a space mission, and surprise, they contain a telepathic, face-smashing parasite. Why is this on the list? Because it's a fascinating piece of exploitation history. The gore effects are handled by the same Italians who were perfecting the zombie genre at the time, so the blood doesn't just drip, it sprays. The pacing is slow, almost hypnotic, as the characters wander through real cavern systems. It creates a genuine sense of claustrophobia that a lot of big-budget movies miss. It's weird, it's unofficial, and it's a testament to the era when you could just slap a 2 on a title and hope for the best. It's a cult relic that every sci-fi horror fan needs to experience at least once, if only for the sheer bravery of its existence. Inseoid, 1981. If Alien was a gothic haunted house story in space, then our next entry, Inseoid, is a full-blown British nightmare. Released in 1981, this movie took the impregnation horror of Ridley Scott's film and cranked it up to an uncomfortable 11. Set on a frozen, distant planet, a team of archaeologists uncovers a tomb they really should have left alone. One of the scientists, played with incredible intensity by Judy Geeson, is attacked by a creature and, as the title suggests, becomes the host for something not of this world. But here's where Inseoid earns its cult status. Instead of being a helpless victim, Geeson's character becomes a cold-blooded protector of her unborn alien twins. She starts hunting her own crew, needing their blood to nourish her pregnancy. This isn't a fun popcorn flick. It's mean, it's bleak, and it's deeply psychological. It taps into a very primal, visceral fear. The production design is classic 80s, low-budget sci-fi, lots of steam, blue lights, and bulky equipment, but the performances are what elevate it. It feels less like a ripoff and more like a twisted cousin to the original. If you like your sci-fi with a heavy dose of British slasher energy, this is the one you can't skip. Creature, 1985. By 1985, the alien clone was becoming its own subgenre, but Creature, also known as Titan Find, is arguably the best-looking one of the bunch. The plot is something you've heard before. Two rival mining companies on Saturn's moon, Titan, accidentally wake up an ancient biological weapon, but Creature has two secret weapons that make it a must-watch. First, the cast. It features the legendary Klaus Kinski. Now, if you know anything about cinema history, you know that Kinski was a brilliant madman. He brings a level of unpredictable, twitchy energy to this movie that keeps you on edge. He's not just acting, he's vibrating with intensity. Second, the special effects. The creature design in this movie is spectacular. It was handled by some of the same artists who worked on The Abyss and Star Wars. They used a technique where the creature has a clear, translucent head, much like the original xenomorph, but they made it look more skeletal and ancient. The lighting is moody, the sets are massive, and the kills are creative. It's a movie that clearly had a bit more money and a lot more talent behind the camera than your average B-movie. It captures that sense of discovery gone wrong better than almost any other clone on this list. Contamination, 1980. Now we're heading back to Italy for a movie that is pure, high-octane fun. If you're a fan of Italian horror, the name Luigi Cozzi is legendary. In 1980, he gave us Contamination. While Alien was a slow-burn suspense film, Contamination is an exploitation masterpiece. It starts in New York Harbor, where a ghost ship is found floating with its crew torn to pieces. The culprits? Large, pulsating green eggs that look like something you'd find in a radioactive swamp. If you touch one, or even get too close, it doesn't just plant a seed in you, it makes your entire torso explode in a shower of red syrup and latex. It's glorious, over-the-top practical effects work that you just don't see anymore. But the real reason this movie is worth watching is the music. The score was done by Goblin, the same prog rock band that did the music for Dawn of the Dead and Suspiria. Their driving, synthesized beats turn a simple sci-fi movie into a stylish, neon-soaked fever dream. It's a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, and it invites you to do the same. It's the ultimate midnight movie for anyone who misses the days when special effects were made in a workshop, not on a computer. Forbidden World, 1982. If you want to see what happens when you give a group of hungry young artists a small budget and total creative freedom, you watch Forbidden World, also known as Mutant. This is another Roger Corman production, but it feels light years ahead of its peers. The story takes us to the desert planet of Zarbia, where scientists have created Subject 20, a biological organism designed to solve world hunger. Naturally, Subject 20 decides it would rather eat the scientists than feed the world. What makes this movie a must-watch is its sheer speed. It's edited like a music video. It's loud, it's colorful, and the creature is a disgusting, dripping masterpiece of low-budget ingenuity. It's got a weird, synth-heavy score and some of the most creative uses of recycled sets in cinema history. It's a lean, mean, 80-minute injection of pure adrenaline that never lets up. If you like your sci-fi fast and filthy, Forbidden World is your holy grail. Deep Star 6, 1989. As the 80s came to a close, the Alien formula moved from the stars to the bottom of the ocean. In 1989, we got Deep Star 6, directed by Sean S. Cunningham, the man who gave us the original Friday the 13th. Instead of a xenomorph, we have a prehistoric sea monster woken up by a deep-sea mining operation. This movie is all about pressure, the physical pressure of the ocean, and the psychological pressure of a crew trapped in a tin can miles below the surface. The buildup is fantastic. You don't see the monster for a long time. You just see the damage it does. And when you finally do see it, it's a massive, crustacean-like beast that looks like a nightmare from the Paleozoic era. It's a blue-collar, working man's sci-fi movie. These aren't polished astronauts. They're tired, stressed-out technicians just trying to survive their shift. For many of us, that's exactly why it resonates. Humanoids from the Deep, 1980. Now, we can't talk about 80s clones without mentioning the most unapologetic movie on this list, Humanoids from the Deep. This is the ultimate creature feature. It takes the alien concept of a predatory species trying to propagate itself and brings it to a small fishing town in the Pacific Northwest. The monsters here were designed by Rob Bottin, the genius who would go on to do the effects for John Carpenter's The Thing. They are hideous, slimy, and genuinely frightening. This movie is a grindhouse classic. It's violent, it's controversial, and it doesn't care about being classy. It's about the primal fear of being hunted by something that shouldn't exist. The final act, which takes place during a local salmon festival, is a masterclass in low-budget carnage. It's a wild ride that reminds us that sometimes the best horror movies are the ones that are a little bit dangerous. Galaxy of Terror, 1981. In the runner-up spot, we have a film that is arguably more famous for its crew than its plot. Galaxy of Terror. On the surface, it's an alien ripoff about a rescue mission to a dark planet. But inside this movie, something special was happening. A young, unknown filmmaker named James Cameron was the production designer. He didn't have any money, so he used dried-up mealworms to make the futuristic control panels look like they were living and pulsating. The movie is a psychedelic trip into hell. Each crew member is killed by their own greatest fear. It's dark, it's imaginative, and it features some of the most memorable and disturbing death scenes in 80s history. It has a dirty look that makes it feel much more expensive than it actually was. It's a piece of cinema history that shows the early sparks of genius from the man who would eventually give us Aliens and Avatar. Leviathan, 1989. And finally, at number 1, we have the king of the high-budget clones, Leviathan. If you want the Alien experience, but set underwater with a cast of heavy hitters, this is it. Peter Weller RoboCop himself leads a team of deep-sea miners who find a sunken Soviet sub. Inside, they find a bottle of vodka that contains a genetic nightmare. Leviathan is the Rolls-Royce of ripoffs. The creature effects were done by the legendary Stan Winston, the man behind the Predator and the Terminator. The monster is a grotesque, mutating nightmare that absorbs its victims, leading to some incredible body horror moments. It has the pacing of a blockbuster, the tension of a slasher, and a cast that you actually care about. It's the perfect capstone to the 1980s. It represents the moment when the B-movie grew up and started playing in the big leagues. If you only watch one movie from this list, make it Leviathan.